How important are the awards to the industry in helping develop and evolve creativity, do you think?
Well, I think awards overall are just part of this industry's culture, whether you like them or not, and agencies and clients like winning awards at the end of the day. It comes back to really what are we recognizing, and like awards, the Internet Awards, we do have the three categories of innovation and effectiveness and creativity, and most award shows have those general categories now. So I do think the awards play a role in bringing a spotlight, if you like, to what's happening online, so just raising the profile, which is very important for a new media, and encouraging creatives that perhaps haven't yet dipped their toe into the online water to have a go at it and win an award.
Are you finding, having experience working in agencies yourself, that more creatives who probably got into it to win awards with TV commercials and beautiful print ads are willing to try to work in interactive, or are they just going overseas?
Again, it's really in the last 24 months I've felt more positive about the mainstream creatives taking this media seriously and wanting to see their offline concepts, if you like, manifest well online, because this is a media that isn't the creative lead, if you like, and perhaps that's some years to come before it is. So we always are working with a concept that has taken place for offline media, and we're manifesting it online. What I think is happening with the creatives within, let's call them mainstream agencies, is that now that we understand that this is a terrific branding medium, again, you're getting their attention when you say the word brand. So I've noticed they start to pay attention when you talk about it as a branding medium. They also start to pay attention when you actually show them what the technology can do now. Because it's quite different than it was even 24 months ago in terms of the bandwidth we can work with and the rich media formats and the larger real estate that we can actually work with online. And they're starting to pay attention. You know, when it was the little banner at the top of the page and that was the only option they had, it's not a very interesting space for many creatives. Now we have far richer palette, if you like, to work from, and we're starting to get their attention.
Are you seeing a different type of agency work in that banner space, if you will, than in the conceptual space? Are their banners themselves have come down a lot in price? Are there the vendors that are pumping them out for $100, $200?
Yes.
That are in a completely different space than the agency that's responsible for the brand?
To some degree they can be. It depends on the campaign's objectives. If you've got a campaign that's more response orientated than the banner, just because, as you've mentioned, the cost per thousand can really work very, very hard for a response campaign. It always, however, has to be a mix of online formats that seem to work best. But if you have branding objectives first and foremost, you probably do use a larger format or some sort of an over-the-page, if you like, that has a little more impact for the brand.
I see on forums often enough advertisers complaining that they can't get the spaces that they want on a publisher's website. Are you seeing a lot of constrained, if you will, campaigns?
I don't know if it's constrained. Just given the popularity of this media, there's certain spaces and sizes that we know sell out quickly, so there's more demand than supply, if you like. You know, this whole issue of creativity, the agencies certainly have a role to play in it, and clients have a role to play in it, but so do the online publishers. And while it's been very good to have the online format standardized over the years, and that's just important from making the whole industry feel more comfortable, it's great around cost efficiencies and operational efficiencies. I think the online publishers have to be more flexible too. You know, when we come to them with a great idea that is outside of the cookie cutter approach we're taking to it right now, then I think they just have to be a little more open to that.
Heather, do you think that the publishers have a responsibility just as much as the agencies do and the marketers in terms of driving creativity online?
Very much so. What the publishers have done over the last few years, and it's been very responsible and it's helped the industry grow, is to standardize the online ad formats. But at the same time, if they want to be nurturing creative, they have to be, I believe, more flexible about a great creative idea that perhaps doesn't fit within the cookie cutter standards that they're employing today.
Do you think other mediums have been better at doing that? Magazines perhaps with inserts and whatnot? Are there other environments where publishers or media companies have been more creative?
To some degree. I think that's more symptomatic, though, of those medias being more mature, if you like, and so they're struggling a little bit, in fact, to find new ways to give a brand a way to break through the clutter. Online being such a new media, the first phase we had to go through was actually standardizing, and so the next phase we'll go through, I think, is bringing more flexibility into that, which is quite a natural phase in terms of a media maturing, I believe.
What about pricing? And again, we're moving off creativity a little bit, but do you think pricing of the industry, everything from an actual banner ad to placement on a media property, do you think that we've come to a point where the pricing makes sense, or are we still evolving in that area too?
We're still experimenting, but we have more and more rigorous, if you like, research tools to do that with now. And most importantly, I think one of the changes that's happened in the industry is we're measuring both sides of the equation. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to measure the response impact, the click-throughs, because that just comes with your ad serving as part of the reporting. But the other side of the equation is the branding impact. And of course, just like offline, you have to do pre and post research on that to understand the brand impact. Now that we're measuring both sides of the equation, we're really understanding the full value of the online media. And the publishers themselves are starting to reflect that in their rate cards. It has always, however, been good value media. Now, always relative to the last 24 months, I would say.
And Best Integrated Campaign may not be an award that we see in 2 years, 5 years' time. What do you think are some awards that we'll start seeing in the internet space?
That's a very interesting question.
We have the viral awards, we have the mobile marketing awards. Do you think that they'll start having an impact on
I think they will. Maybe we define integration differently, and maybe it's looking at, I use the word interlinking actually. And what I mean by the key difference between integration and interlinking is that interlinking isn't just reiterating the same message with the same look and feel through all media. It's actually understanding the role of each media, and through each media, a different message that moves a consumer along a sales path, if that's your objective, or a relationship building path, if that's another objective. So I think what we'll start to see is more real interlinking, especially amongst the digital media, because it is so immediate. So while you may see a banner ad online that's encouraging you to send an SMS, that then you receive something
in the mail?
In the mail, yeah. Thank you. So it can be that immediate, but each of those messages along each of those different media channels has a different role to play. It's bringing the consumer closer to making a decision, or just closer to the brand overall.
It's sounding so much more complicated than
a
print ad or a TV ad.
It is actually more complicated, which is why it's a lot of hard work. And it's also what has to happen is the media agencies and creative agencies have to work a lot more closely together. And that is, we're starting to see that with online. Again, part of this tipping point in 2004, that's one of the ways it's manifesting, I think.
So a lot more interlinking is something that we might see in the future?
Yes, definitely.
And a lot more creativity by the sounds of it. With 20% more entries this year than last year, that's quite a significant number. We've been joined this morning by Heather Albrecht, who's the Chairman of Judges for this year's awards. And thank you very much, Heather, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And hopefully we'll see Heather here again next year.